Welcome back to the Midnight Treehouse, mystery lovers and creature seekers. Tonight, we're going on a worldwide tour of some of the most fascinating mythical creatures ever reported. Buckle up, because we're about to meet three legendary beasts that'll make your average monster look like a cuddly kitten. Let's kick things off with a trip to Latin America, where we'll track down a creature so bizarre, it makes Bigfoot look like your average run-of-the-mill forest dweller. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together for the one, the only Chupacabra. That's right. We're talking about the legendary goat sucker of Latin America. No, it's not a new extreme sport or a weird smoothie flavor. The Chupacabra is a creature that's been puzzling people and freaking out farmers for decades. First things first, let's break down this creature's name. Chupacabra comes from Spanish. Chupar, meaning to suck, and cabra, meaning goat. So, literally, it's the goat sucker. Talk about truth in advertising. But don't worry, kids. Despite its creepy name, the Chupacabra isn't out there with a straw slurping up goats like milkshakes. At least, we don't think so. So, what does this mysterious creature look like? Well, that's where things get interesting. It's like the Chupacabra went to a costume party and couldn't decide on an outfit. Some people describe it as a reptile-like creature with leathery or scaly greenish-gray skin and sharp spines or quills running down its back. Others say it looks more like a weird dog with a pronounced spinal ridge, pronounced eye sockets, and fangs. The legend of the Chupacabra first popped up in Puerto Rico in 1995. A woman named Madeline Tolentino reported seeing a bizarre creature near her home. Soon after, farmers began finding their livestock mysteriously dead, drained of blood. And just like that, a crypto-celebrity was born. But here's the thing. The Chupacabra isn't content with just hanging out in Puerto Rico. This little globetrotter has allegedly been spotted all over Latin America, in the southern United States, and even as far away as Russia. Talk about racking up those frequent flyer miles. Now you might be thinking, surely with all these sightings, someone must have caught a Chupacabra by now, right? Well, not exactly. Despite numerous Chupacabra corpses being found over the years, they all turn out to be, drumroll please, coyotes or dogs with mange. Yep, it turns out that mange, a skin condition that causes animals to lose their fur, can make ordinary critters look pretty darn bizarre. So that weird-looking hairless animal might not be a blood-sucking monster after all. It might just need a good flea bath. But don't let that burst your cryptozoological bubble. The lack of evidence hasn't stopped the Chupacabra from becoming a pop culture superstar. This elusive creature has appeared in movies, TV shows, video games, and even has its own action figures. Not bad for a creature that may or may not exist, right? Interestingly, some researchers think the whole Chupacabra craze might have been sparked by a movie. The sci-fi horror film Species came out in 1995, just before the first Chupacabra sighting. And guess what? The alien in that movie looks an awful lot like some descriptions of our goat-sucking friend. Coincidence? You decide. Now, speaking of creatures that may or may not exist, let's spread our wings and fly north to Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Here, we'll encounter a being that's part moth, part man, and 100% mysterious. That's right, folks. It's time to meet the Mothman. Our story begins on a chilly November night in 1966. Two young couples were driving near an old World War II munitions plant known to locals as the TNT area. Suddenly, their headlights caught something that made their jaws drop faster than a skydiving elephant. There, in the darkness, stood a creature like nothing they'd ever seen before. It was shaped like a man, but that's where the similarity ended. This thing was huge, about 7 feet tall, with a wingspan of 10 feet or more. Its body was gray, but its most striking feature was its eyes, big, round, and glowing red like two bicycle reflectors. As the couples watched in horror, this creature spread its massive wings and took off, following their car as they sped away in terror. And just like that, the legend of the Mothman was born. Now you might think this was just a one-time thing. Maybe someone in a really elaborate Halloween costume who got lost on their way to a party. But nope. Over the next year, more than 100 people reported seeing the Mothman. It was like Point Pleasant had suddenly become the coolest hangout spot for creepy winged creatures. Witnesses described the Mothman as making a loud squeaking sound, like a giant mouse. Others reported that their TV sets went crazy when the Mothman was near. Talk about bad reception. The Mothman sightings sent Point Pleasant into a frenzy. Reporters flocked to the town, monster hunters combed the TNT area, and locals started locking their doors at night, because everyone knows mythical creatures can't turn doorknobs, right? But here's where the story takes a dark turn. On December 15, 1967, just over a year after the first Mothman sighting, tragedy struck Point Pleasant. The Silver Bridge, which connected the town to Ohio, suddenly collapsed during rush hour traffic, resulting in the deaths of 46 people. Some people believe the Mothman sightings were a warning of this impending disaster. Others thought the creature might have caused the collapse somehow. Whatever the case, Mothman sightings in Point Pleasant pretty much stopped after the bridge collapse. So, was the Mothman real? Well, skeptics have some theories. 1. It could have been a large bird like a sandhill crane, which can stand up to 4 feet tall and has a wingspan of up to 7 feet. In the dark, and to scared witnesses, it might have seemed much larger. 2. Others think it might have been some kind of mass hysteria, where one report led to people interpreting ordinary things as extraordinary. 3. Some even suggest it could have been a top-secret military experiment from the nearby TNT area, because nothing says covert operation like a 7-foot Mothman, right? Today, Point Pleasant has fully embraced its winged visitor. There's a Mothman museum, an annual Mothman festival, and even a giant Mothman statue in the middle of town. It's like their very own mascot, just a bit more apocalyptic. Now let's head even further north into the vast, snowy forests of Canada and the northern United States. Here, in the land of maple syrup and moose, we'll encounter a creature so chilling it'll make your hot cocoa freeze. Bundle up tight, because we're on the trail of the Wendigo. The Wendigo comes from the folklore of various Algonquian-speaking peoples, including the Ojibwe, the Saulteaux, the Cree, and the Innu. These are First Nations and Native American groups who've lived in the northern forests of North America for thousands of years. In their traditions, the Wendigo is described as a monster with some seriously creepy features. Imagine a creature as tall as a tree, with glowing eyes, long yellowed fangs, and a body so gaunt that its skin is stretched tight over its bones. Oh, and it might have a heart made of ice. Talk about having a cold heart. But here's the really wild part. According to legend, Wendigos aren't born, they're made. The story goes that a person could turn into a Wendigo if they resorted to cannibalism during a harsh winter. Once transformed, the new Wendigo would be cursed with an insatiable hunger, forever wandering the forests in search of its next meal. Now, before you cancel your winter camping trip, remember that the Wendigo is more than just a scary story. For the Algonquian peoples, this legend served an important purpose. It was a cautionary tale about the dangers of greed, selfishness, and desperation. It taught people the importance of sharing resources and working together to survive in the harsh northern climate. The Wendigo legend has been around for centuries, but it really caught the attention of non-native people in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. European settlers and explorers in Canada began reporting strange encounters in the wilderness. They told tales of eerie howls in the night, glimpses of emaciated figures darting between trees, and an overwhelming sense of being watched. One famous Wendigo story comes from a trading post in Alberta, Canada in 1878. A Cree hunter named Swift Runner confessed to killing and eating his family during a brutal winter. At his trial, he claimed he had been possessed by the spirit of a Wendigo. Spoiler alert, the court didn't buy it. So, is the Wendigo real? Well, that depends on who you ask. Skeptics point out that many Wendigo sightings can be explained by other things. 1. The harsh winter environment playing tricks on people's minds. 2. Misidentification of known animals like bears or wolves. 3. The effects of isolation and hunger on the human psyche. Some anthropologists suggest that Wendigo psychosis, a culture-bound syndrome where a person believes they're turning into a Wendigo, might explain some historical cases. Today, the Wendigo has become a popular figure in books, movies, and TV shows. It's often portrayed as a scary monster, but many modern storytellers are trying to be more respectful of its origins and the deeper meanings behind the legend. So there you have it, folks. 3 incredible creatures from 3 different parts of North America. The blood-sucking Chupacabra of Latin America, the winged Mothman of West Virginia, and the frost-bitten Wendigo of the northern forests. What do these creatures have in common? Well, they all spark our imagination, challenge our understanding of the world, and remind us that there might be more to reality than what we can easily explain. These legends also tell us something about the cultures they come from. The Chupacabra reflects concerns about strange predators in rural areas. The Mothman taps into our fascination with the unknown and our search for meaning in tragedy. And the Wendigo represents the harsh realities of survival in an unforgiving environment. Whether these creatures are real, misidentified animals, or just really persistent local legends, one thing's for sure. They've left an indelible mark on their communities and on the world of cryptozoology. They also show us how stories can evolve and spread in the modern world. From local whispers to international news, from campfire tales to Hollywood movies, these creatures have made quite a journey. So, the next time you're out for a walk in the woods or driving down a dark road at night, keep your eyes peeled. You never know what might be lurking in the shadows. It probably won't be a Chupacabra, a Mothman, or a Wendigo. But hey, stranger things have happened. And remember, whether you believe in these creatures or not, the legends themselves are real. They're part of our cultural heritage, our shared imagination, and our ongoing quest to understand the mysteries of the world around us. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and remember, the truth is out there, somewhere. And who knows, maybe the next great cryptid discovery is just waiting for you to find it. Happy monster hunting, everyone!